Welcome to the Michigan Runner Show. Join us each time as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great sport.
I love having the opportunity to address an audience of people who are familiar with spina bifida or who are living with spina bifida, whether personally or with a loved one. You are my favorite audience. In case you haven't guessed, I too was born with spina bifida. And this morning, I hope that you could sense that it's not a lifelong tragedy, and that there are success stories, and that spina bifida really can be a characteristic of one's life.
We're here with Michigan Runner TV, and we're visiting with Jeanne Driscoll, and we're going to talk with Jeanne about her experiences running marathons. Jeanne, what I want to first ask you is what it's like being an inspiration, and do you think of yourself as being an inspiration to others that are in wheelchairs?
It's such a privilege and an honor to have the platform that I do because of the athletic success I've had. And when I first started being asked to speak, I was reluctant. I was a reluctant speaker. I was a reluctant leader. I didn't know what I had inside of me, and I didn't know what other people were looking at. But I consider it such a joy and truly a privilege and an honor, as I've already said, to be able to be on stage and to let people hear about my experiences and maybe learn from some of my mistakes and learn from some of my bad attitudes on my way to adopting proper perspective, and better attitude.
I had never heard about University of Illinois until actually I was working here with Jenny. She mentioned it to me. And so I'm just curious what it's like to be able to train with other college athletes that are in wheelchairs.
It is so much fun to be able to go in and work out with 20 other athletes who are all together training for the Chicago Marathon or the Detroit Free Press Marathon or the Boston Marathon or for other track events that are going on. Not only do we train together on the track, we train together on the road, we train together in the weight room. There really was a sense of community. So it really was fun to be part of this big family and this big community of racing. A lot of people were very jealous that we had so many other people, the equipment that had been saved up for and purchased over many years' time. Sometimes people think that it happened overnight, and it hasn't happened overnight, but it really is it's fun to be part of a big team and really a big family.
One of the other things that I have a question about is just when you are doing the marathon and in the wheelchair, something happens to the wheelchair, what is it that you do when you're in the middle of a marathon and you have an equipment failure?
Typically, the biggest problem in wheelchair racing is getting a flat tire. And so we usually tape 1 or 2 new tires on our frames. We use a tire called a sew-up, which means the top of the tire and the bottom of the tire are sewn together, and there's a thin tube on the inside into which you can put very high pressurized air. So the fact that these are tires that we don't have to monkey around with the tube while we're sitting in the chair makes it easier to change. I can change a tire on my chair while I'm still sitting in the chair. Other equipment problems might be something with loose wheels or maybe some of the mechanics in the front end of it might fail. Your best assurance against that is to go over your chair a day or two before the race and make sure everything is tight. The only thing that happens that you have no control over is that flat tire, or if you crash.
What was one of the most special recognitions that you feel like you've received?
It's hard for me to name just one special recognition. I have had an amazing career, an amazing life. When I won the Women's Sports Foundation Award in 1991, I was on a top 10 list with Christy Yamaguchi and Lynn Jennings and a number of other Olympic athletes, and I was honored that I was even on this top 10 list. Never did I think I would win it, and I ended up winning it that year. It is an award that it's the Sportswoman of the Year award. Now, these days, they give a individual sport and a team sport Athlete of the Year award. Back when I received it, they had Professional Athlete of the Year and Amateur Athlete of the Year, and so I won the Amateur Athlete of the Year. It's an award that Jackie Kersey has won, and Janet Evans and Bonnie Blair. Mia Hamm has now been honored by the Women's Sports Foundation. I was in really good company, so that was huge. And then also when Sports Illustrated for Women magazine named me as one of the top 25 female athletes of the 20th century. Again, it's a list that includes notable athletes like Joan Benoit Samuelson and Martina Navratilova and Billie Jean King and Jackie and Bonnie I just mentioned. Dorothy Hamill wasn't among the top 25, but in their list of top 100 she was in there. So I was in some incredibly big company, and the fact that I was named among the first 25 of their top 100 was unbelievable.
New York City is adding a wheelchair division to their marathon. Just wanted to know what your thoughts are on that and what you think about marathons adding wheelchair divisions to their races.
The New York City Marathon has added a wheelchair division to their event, and it's been a long time in coming. There was a lot of discussion and debate in the previous 20 years at least about having a wheelchair division. There were some very unfortunate experiences with wheelchair athletes who tried to do New York before they opened their arms up to the wheelchair division. You know, wheelchair sports is evolving in a parallel manner to women in sport, and when women first got involved, people didn't think they belonged. I mean, the first woman to win an Olympic gold medal in the marathon was Joan Benoit Samuelson in 1984. 1984 was not that long ago. And so a lot of the battles that women who have been pioneers in their sports have fought are similar battles that athletes who happen to use wheelchairs are fighting. And so the fact that the New York City Marathon is moving in this direction now, it's very exciting.
How is it that you train for a marathon? What do you do in preparation in the weeks and months before you go to run a marathon?
Training is my lifestyle. Training is my life. I have retired now. I retired from racing in November of 2000, but as I was getting ready for marathons, particularly the Boston Marathon, I was doing between 120 and 150 miles a week. I was weightlifting 4 times a week. I was training 6 days of a week, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, depending on what my workout was going to be that day.
What is it that you're doing now to benefit children with disabilities, and how are you spending your time now that you're not doing the racing?
Well, now that I'm not racing, I'm spending a lot of time on the road speaking, but I have gotten involved with an organization called Johnny and Friends. They have a program called Wheels for the World, through which wheelchairs are collected and they are taken to one of 7 prisons in the United States. Inmates restore them to like-new condition, and then these chairs are distributed in countries where chairs are scarce commodities. So countries like Romania and Peru and Cuba and Ghana, West Africa, China, many more are countries that are receiving visits from Johnny and Friends through the Wheels for the World program. Well, Wheels for the World wanted to develop a sports arm to their ministry. This is a Christian ministry, disability outreach ministry. And they asked if I would be interested in traveling to Ghana, West Africa to work with some athletes there. They have a limited supply of donated equipment, and so I agreed to go over there. I raised my own funding to be able to go over there, and in 2001 was my first trip to Ghana.
Great. Thanks, Jeanne. I appreciate your time and your inspiration.
You're welcome.